So I am Sivaramakrishnan. I am working as assistant professor in Department of Civil Engineering. So I am going to handle the topic Euler's column theory. So Euler's column theory is derived. I will derive an equation for the buckling load of the column based on the bending stress. While deriving the stress, the effect of the direct stress is neglected. So the Euler formula cannot be applied for a short column, because the direct stress is considerable. In short column, the direct stress is considerable. So the Euler's theory is applicable only for the long column. So assumption, initially the column is perfectly straight and the load is applied axially. So column, the load, there are three type of loading in column. One is the axially loaded column with uniaxial moment, axially loaded column with the biaxial moment. So Euler column theory is applicable only for the load when the load is applied axially. The cross section of the column is uniform throughout the length. So the column the shape of the column may be a cylindrical column, a rectangular column, or a cylindrical column or a rectangular column. So the length of the size of cross section of the column is uniform throughout the length. The length of the column is very large compared to the lateral dimension. So lateral dimension of the columns are breadth and width. So it is very less compared to the length of the column. Usually the length of the column is around 3 meters. The failure of the column occurs due to buckling. There are two types of failure occurring in the column. The short column failed by crushing, long column failed by buckling. So we are considering only the buckling of the column. The column material is perfectly elastic, homogeneous and isotropic. So while doing any analysis part, we are assuming that the material is elastic, homogeneous and isotropic. So there are four end conditions of the column. The first end condition is both ends are hinged. Second end condition is both ends are fixed. Then one end is hinged and other end fixed. Next one end fixed and other end is fixed. There are four end conditions we are using. So both ends hinged. So this is the first derivation. Based on this only, we are going to elaborate the other end conditions in the column. So we are considering a column of length AB. Both one support is A, we take it as A, and other support we take it as B. Both ends are hinged supports. So we are taking the load is applied, point P load is applied on the to support A as well as and B. So we are taking a section XX from A at a distance X. From that we are taking the moment M equal to P into moment equal to force into perpendicular distance. We get it as P into Y. Take this P into Y. So A into d squared by dx squared equal to M we can represent it as A into d squared by dx squared. We can take it as minus Y, minus P into Y. So we bring the Py other side. So A into d squared by dx squared equal to minus Py. We are bringing the Py to the other side and we are equating it to 0. Next step we are dividing the equation by A. So we will be getting d squared by dx squared plus P by A into Y equal to 0. So this equation we will be getting. The general solution for the above equation is Y equal to A cos x into root of P by A plus B sin x into root of P by A. So both ends are hinged. So in that first we are going to apply the end condition. At the hinged support the deflection will be 0. So when x is equal to 0, y equal to 0, we are applying. So we are while applying this end condition, we will be getting the A equal to 0. When at x equal to L, we are applying the end condition y equal to 0. That is at x is equal to 0, the deflection equal to 0. That is at A. At B also, at x is equal to L, the deflection is 0. So applying this end condition, already we have found the A value as 0. So hence B cannot be equal to 0. So we are equating this here. Hence sin x in sin L into root of P by A. We are equating this equation to 0. The sin will be 0 at pi. Okay. So L into root of P by A equal to pi. So squaring both sides, we will be getting P equal to pi squared A by L squared. So next one end fixed and other end free. So in this condition, same procedure we are going to follow. The only difference is the other end, the support B will be free end. So the equation will be changed as we are M equal to, previously we have take it as M equal to minus P into Y. Here the formula will be changing into P into A minus Y. So we are multiplying P to the bracket. We are getting M equal to PA minus PY. we are bringing this minus p into y, we are bringing to the other side. So d squared by dx squared plus p by a into y plus p by a by ea. So, this equation from we are dividing this by ea. The general solution for the above differential equation is this is the general solution. Extra term is the a that we are adding in the next slide. So a and b are the constant of the integration. So by applying the end condition, we can find the value of a as well as b. So first end condition we are applying it as at x equal to 0, y equal to 0. We find the a as minus a. Now differentiating the above equation, dy by dx equal to minus a into root of p by a sin x into root of p by a. So cos, previous slide. So cos will become minus sin and sin will become the cos. There is no x term in the a. This is a is a constant. It will become 0. So dy by dx cos while differentiating cos it will become minus sin. So we are getting minus sin here. Sin will be differentiated into cos. So the constant has become 0 here. So we are applying the next boundary condition at x equal to 0, dy by dx equal to 0. So since we have get a has some value, we can put as b as 0. So in the previous case, a is 0, so b has some value. So we have equated and find that value. Now substituting the value of a, we are getting that the equation is reduced to y equal to minus a into cos x root of p by a plus a. Now one end fixed and other end is free. We are applying the another boundary condition at x is equal to L, y equal to a. So we are applying the boundary condition. So y equal to a, we are applying x is equal to L. So we are getting it as 0 equal to cos L into root of p by a. The cos will be 0 at pi by 2, multiples of pi by 2. So squaring both sides, we will be getting p equal to pi squared a by 4L squared. So next third end condition, both ends are fixed. So same way we are doing, since one end is fixed, we are getting the moment m0. So same procedure, we are dividing by mi and also bringing the minus py to the other side. So d squared by dx squared plus p by a into y equal to m0 divided by a. The general solution for the above differential equation is x is equal y equal to a into cos x root of p by a plus b into sin x root of p by a plus m0 by p. This p has brought to the downstairs. Then both ends fixed. So we are applying the first boundary condition at x equal to 0, y equal to 0. So we have got a equal to m0 by p. Next we are differentiating the above equation. Du by dx equal to a minus a root of p by a sin x plus b into cos x into root of p by a. Next we are applying the second boundary condition at x equal to 0, du by dx equal to 0. So we will be getting b as 0. Now substituting the value of a and b, we will be getting the equation y equal to minus m0 by p cos x root of p by a plus m0 by p. Next we are applying another boundary condition at x is equal to L, y equal to 0. So applying the boundary condition, we will be getting as 1 equal to cos L into root of p by a. So the cos will be 1 when at 2 pi, 4 pi, 6 pi, etc. So squaring both sides, we will be getting p equal to 4 pi squared a by L squared. Next the fourth end condition is one end fixed and other end hinged. So in this the given equation will be e into d squared by dx squared equal to h into L minus x minus p into y. We are bringing the minus p into y to the other side as well as minus p into the y to the other side and divided by e, we will be getting this equation d squared by dx squared plus p by a to y equal to h into L minus x divided by e. So the solution to the general solution for the above differential equation is y equal to a cos x root of p by a plus b sin x root of p by a plus h into L minus x divided by p. So this b we are bringing to the downstairs. Now applying the boundary condition, first boundary condition will be at x equal to 0, y equal to 0, we will be getting a equal to hl by p. Next we are going to differentiate the equation and we are going to apply the boundary condition at x equal to 0, dy by dx equal to 0. So in this problem we have got value for both a as well as b. In previous problem, either we will be having value for either a or b. But one end fixed, other end hinged, we have got value for both a as well as b. Now substituting the value of both a and b, we will be getting the final equation. So dividing the sign by cos, we have got the tan equation, tan L into root of P by A equal to Lx into root of P by A. So we have put it as 4.5 Lx into root of P by A. Now squaring both sides, we will be getting P equal to 2 pi squared A by L square. So the effective length of column can be summarized as the Euler's formula is P equal to pi squared A by L square. There are 4 end conditions, both ends hinged, one end fixed, other end free, both end fixed and one end fixed, other end hinged. So these are the various relation between the effective length and the actual length. So these are the limitations. So first limitation, Euler formula will give the value of crippling stress of the column corresponding to the slenderness ratio. So slenderness ratio is L by D ratio, we call it as slenderness ratio. A long column or a short column is based on this slenderness ratio. Next, if the slenderness ratio is less than 80, Euler formula is not valid for mindless steel column. The slenderness ratio more than 80 are called as long column and less than 80 are called as short column. The Euler formula will hold good for long column only. Short column you cannot apply this Euler's formula.